Lassiter Factor.
What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? It's your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor, and today I'm going to talk about Beauty in the Black Part 2, which was released on Netflix a little over a week ago, and I'm finally finished powering through it, so let's review. So, Beauty in the Black is a new show by Tyler Perry. Part 1 was released back in October of last year, in which we follow Kimmy, who is forced into the sex worker life. And it turns out to be a money laundering scheme for this family of billionaires. In fact, it's a money laundering scheme for a cosmetics company called Beauty in the Black, and these millionaires run it. Well, this rich family, I should say. Kimmy somehow gets caught up in it, and the way part one ended off, she ended up essentially killing somebody because they found her long lost sister and brought her into the sex worker business. And so the rest of part two is basically just nothing but just repetitive storylines, and somehow all these horrible rich people do get their comeuppance, and Kimmy, she definitely gets a break in the end. Now, I've said it many times before, I have a love-hate relationship with Tyler Perry. He's made things that I've liked or loved, and he's made things that I thought were just downright awful. And quick side note, I do know that as of right now, he did release a new movie called Duplicity, and I am planning on releasing my review of that. But for now, I just wanted to get Beauty in the Black Part 2 out of the way real quick. But generally speaking, a lot of people say that his plays and shows are sometimes better than his movies. As far as the shows goes, I mean, that's a bit debatable. I mean, he has a bunch of shows on BET, I know, and then he's got shows on Netflix now. But as for Beauty in the Black Part 1, I actually did like it at times. I think it goes back to when Tyler Perry was making soap operas for the Oprah Network, like The Has and the Have-Nots. But I stopped watching that show because I just felt the show just started dragging. And I feared that's what happened with this show. But fortunately, it does a little bit, but it does start to wrap things up a little bit. In fact, I heard this show was greenlit for a second season, to which, depending on how I felt after watching the rest of this first season, I don't know how I would feel about a second season. But after seeing how season one ended, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually open to seeing what happens next. And I really mean that too. I just felt like this second part, much in like the first part, kind of dragged at times. But then suddenly, like halfway through, the show just started to focus up and it started to wrap up certain things. And then how I'm basically going to spoil the rest of the season in a little bit, but just know that how the season ending, I'm like, yo, I'm really curious to see how season two goes. Now, what I mean when I say the show dragged at times is this show just got really repetitive because, and everybody's made jokes about this. I mean, the majority of this second part is just nothing but him trying to figure out who killed my wife. Kimmy being like, where is my sister? And then Horace here trying to look for Kimmy. And then this bitch right here, she's still holding the information that she was the one that actually killed his wife. And everybody's out looking for Kimmy. But for me, this show really got going halfway through was when Kimmy was finally reunited with her sister. And quick side note, and I don't wish death on anybody, but in the case of TV, I'm definitely glad that these two bitches here are finally gone because they were getting on my damn nerves. They were just treating Kimmy horribly. But you still have this motherfucker right here looking for Kimmy. And look, I know this actor has a name, but to me, he'll always be Otis from The Temptations. Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis. But he finally caught off to Kimmy, and he was about to let her have it. And he had one of his other hoes beating the shit out of her. But then that's when Horace finally came to her rescue. He released her, and not before Kimmy, she socked one to the stripper that was beating her. And then, but long story short, he ends up in the hospital because he is sick, and then he basically gives her the idea like, hey, marry me and I will sign off all my assets and money to you, and anyone in my family that comes after you, best believe they will not come after you because I have dirt on all of them. And the reason he's doing that is specifically he just hates his sons. He hates how his sons turned out. He hates that his sons are a piece of shit. Like, hear me out. Like, I like Knives Out, the movie, the murder mystery that came out a few years ago. I like Knives Out because I just enjoy seeing entitled rich white people get bought down a peg. And in the case of this show, I just enjoy watching horrible, entitled rich black people get bought down a peg in favor of someone that is just down on her luck and she has had it the worst and she finally gets to breathe. And that's essentially how part two ends off, with the whole family. They finding out that he has left everything in the will to her. And so who knows how part two is going to be. Either they're all going to come for her, but still they all can't come for her because if something happens to her, then they forfeit all their shares. Like I said, horrible black people, or horrible rich black people, I should say, get bought down a peg, and even though they can't touch her, I am curious to see how they do with that information in the next season. But as for the show itself, hey, look, it's Tyler Perry. I'm not going to tell you, I mean, if you already have issues with Tyler Perry, I'm not going to tell you to watch the show or to not watch this show. That's up to you to decide. You know your relationship with Tyler Perry. But for me, hey, this show can be a mixed bag at times, but it does pay off in the end to the point where I want to see season two. Therefore, I'm going to give Beauty in the Black a mid thumbs up emoji, which is a bit of a step up from my rating for part one, which I believe was the shoulder shrug emoji. But here I'll give it a mid thumbs up emoji, not a solid one, just a mid one, because it had things that I enjoyed and then some things that brought the show down for me a little bit. But that's it for the day. Have you watched Beauty in the Black? If so, let me know what you think of this show in the comment section below. Do you think I was fair with my rating? Also, let me know. This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factory. Stay safe, wash your hands, peace.